New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor Miranda Devine. Miranda, great to see you this morning. Thanks for being here. What's your reaction to all of this?
Well, I think it's like everyone else's. It's a complete circus. And the fact that Alvin Bragg, who, as your previous guest said, is the face of the crime wave in New York City, is the man bringing these unprecedented charges against a former president, just says it all. And the fact that the entire NYPD has been called out to go and be on duty tomorrow morning just in case, leaving the rest of the city unprotected, says it all as well. All of this about a supposed assignation from 17 years ago. They really had to scrape the bottom of the barrel to get Donald Trump on this.
Yeah, they really did. And at the same time, they're allowing murderers and rapists to go get processed and then be out on the streets because of their easy bail law. Yeah. Trump confirmed that he's going to speak from his Florida home tomorrow after all of this takes place, after the court appearance. I spoke with the former director of national intelligence, John Ratcliffe, yesterday. Of course, he was also a prosecutor and the U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Texas. He joined me yesterday. Here's what he said about the impact of this indictment. Watch.
I mean, the point is, this is election interference. We don't know how. No one really knows how this is going to play out. We just know that it is going to be a factor. We have crossed the Rubicon from people saying, on the left, President Trump should be indicted. It's not going to play out throughout the court system in less than a year. This political persecution is going to influence our politics every single day for the next year until a Republican nominee is chosen. And that is, by definition, election interference.
And Miranda, let's face it. I mean, the first GOP primary debate is in 4 months. It's this August. And then you've got the Iowa caucus is in 8 months, next February. So, Ratcliffe makes a good point. They're doing this right before the election, and he's #1 in the polls right now.
Exactly. I mean, here we are, another election that is going to be interfered with, and Donald Trump, being the Republican frontrunner, is being attacked by Democrats who have been elected on a Get Trump platform to basically nobble him and make it easier for their candidate, who's Joe Biden, who's already 80 years old, to somehow slip across the line, hiding behind all the scandal and all the media, 24/7 media attention on Donald Trump. I mean, perversely, it's helped Donald Trump, I think, in terms of the Republican nomination, because it just rallies people who might have been straggling to his side. No one thinks that they want to give the Democrats a win on this. They can't be allowed to destroy one of the candidates for president, especially on such spurious, trumped-up charges. I mean, we're yet to see the indictment, but what have they got? That's what they have. And I think that, it is interfering with the nomination process. Ron DeSantis has his book launch. He's travelling around the country. No one's listening to him because all the news is about Donald Trump. And I think that's how the Democrats like it.
Yeah, I mean, look, then you've got this gag order. And pretty much they are doing this, trying to take Trump down, and they don't want any questions about it. They're actually threatening that they'll throw him in jail for 30 days if he even mentions it. He's not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just disgusting. And, it's adding insult on top of insult. And the Democrats had better be careful of what they're doing and what they're unleashing. They keep on making precedents on behalf of Donald Trump and breaking norms of politics. And it's going to come back to bite them, and it's going to hurt the entire country, and it's damaging the political system. And for what? For one man. Why are they so frightened of Donald Trump? Why don't they just let the political process play out naturally and let the American people make up their minds? They don't trust the American people, and they have convinced them. Yeah.
I think they've been exposed because, you asked the right question. Why do they hate him with such a passion? I mean, it's got to be that he touched corruption. He saw the corruption that was going on in Washington, and he wasn't afraid to shoot his mouth off about it. And they don't want that. They're afraid of losing their power grab. That's what it is. Because what else could it be? How do you hate somebody that much with this much passion?
Yeah, I think that the hardheads in Washington, D.C., in the swamp, saw that he was an existential threat to their cosy existence and their continual wars. But what they've managed to do very cleverly, because they control the media, is create this appetite for hatred with their Democratic base. And these people are completely unhinged. They think that Donald Trump is the second coming of Adolf Hitler, and therefore any outrage done and created to destroy him is worth it. It doesn't matter if you break the law, if you pervert the course of justice, that's all fine because you are greeted with this existential threat. And who wouldn't have gotten rid of Hitler, before he rose to power in Germany? They think that they are being virtuous because they have been convinced and brainwashed into thinking that this man, Donald Trump, is just so evil, anything it takes to get rid of him is fine.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure about that. I don't know if they actually do believe that. Liz P., jump in here. I know they hate him so much, but I think it's because they're afraid of losing their power. They make believe that he's the next Hitler. I don't think they really believe that.
Well, I think what we're seeing with this prosecution is that they're really, really afraid that if Joe Biden is the candidate, that Donald Trump's going to beat him. I know they pretend otherwise, but the truth is Joe Biden is a horrendous candidate. He's too old. The entire country thinks he's too old. He's had a failing administration. He has a second-rate, maybe third-rate White House full of totally incompetent people. I think Joe Biden's chances of winning another election are nil. So, yes, they're afraid of Donald Trump, and I think they're basically kind of pretty much assuming that this is going to help them. But, Miranda, I think the real question, as we look at this, as you say, circus play out, is this going to help or hurt Donald Trump? And I actually don't know. I think there's certainly a reaction right now.
You're right.
There's a reaction right now that, oh, yeah, he's being, once again, they're jumping on him. But down the road, aren't people just tired of all this melodrama?
Yes, and not only that, look, he was able to raise $4 million in just a couple of days, right, Miranda? He raised all that money from individuals right after this indictment was announced. But at the same time, and he's the number one in the polls, but at the same time, I agree with that question. I'm not sure if this actually does help him.
Yeah, look, it's a good point, and I think it's one that is being discussed, at the highest levels in Republican strategists, donors, and particularly people who are backing Ron DeSantis. And I think the calculus that the DeSantis people are making is that when things have calmed down, it's almost a year till the primaries, that Ron DeSantis will be able to portray himself as, no drama Ron. And whereas there's always drama around Donald Trump, whether or not it's self-inflicted or created by Democrats is immaterial. They're banking on the fact that the Republican base and also delegates, we have to remember that it's whoever wins over them the most delegates who gets to the nomination, that they'll all be heartily sick of the drama, whether it's his fault or not, that surrounds Donald Trump. I think the next year is going to be very interesting, and it'll all depend on how these charges play out, how Donald Trump reacts, and also the media, the 24/7 media coverage of Donald Trump that doesn't give any oxygen to anybody else.
Yeah, real quick, Miranda, go through the timing on this, because I think it's really important to recognize the fact that as soon as the leak of an indictment for Trump came out, it came out right after we got the bank records from Joe Biden's family.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, this has to be deliberate. We had this bombshell revelation, brand new. We haven't seen anything like this for a long time. And officially coming from James Comer's Oversight Committee of this money trail that they're chasing that's come directly $1 million from a Chinese company via a proxy into 5 bank accounts associated with the immediate members of Joe Biden's family, being his son Hunter, his brother Jim, his daughter-in-law Hallie, who was having an affair with Hunter Biden after her husband died, and 1/4 unnamed Biden member, as yet unnamed. And so that $1 million is just an example of how that money was brought in from China and disguised by funneling it through third parties and parcelled out over 3 months in various tranches to try and keep it under the radar so that people didn't realise what it was. And the excuse that's come from Hunter Biden's lawyers was just laughable, that this was good faith seed money. You know, why disguised in the way it was, and what was it actually for? What legitimate business was it for? Obviously, they have no real answer to that. And this was a bombshell that should have been discussed, and it wasn't, because 24 hours later the leak comes that Donald Trump's going to be arrested, and that was 2 weeks before the indictment even happened.
Yeah, spot on. Exactly right. Miranda, thank you.